And now it's time for Photo Booth Live Chat with John Young. All right, we are live. Yay! Good evening, Internet world. Tonight, we are coming to you live from actually the upper part of the United States. We're coming to you live from Minnesota and from out in the Philadelphia area. And I've got Dave Stephenson with me tonight. Good evening, Dave.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on tonight. For those of you who do not know Dave, if you are in the group, the Photo Booth Network, you probably have heard of him. And if you haven't, it's probably because you were a troublemaker.
No.
Not that anyways.
We love everybody.
Not that anyone's ever a troublemaker on Facebook pages or the internet. Dave also has spoken at some of the different conventions out there, and he's going to be speaking at the upcoming Photo Booth Expo, which was that ad you guys just saw a moment ago. The link for the Photo Booth Expo, by the way, is down in the description. You can go out and check that out. Dave, you've been speaking at these shows. What got you into doing the speaking side of things?
Well, I started my network group, the Photo Booth Network, and it was just basically to pay it forward, to help other boothers get started and learn and grow their business. And now we've got this whole big industry that's kind of just taken off and keeps going and growing and getting bigger every day.
That it has. And for those of you who have been following, if you haven't been to Photo Booth Expo, it's been one of those events that's growing and growing and growing every year. More people coming to it and such, which is really kind of a cool and exciting and fun time in Vegas. So again, photoboothexpo.com. You guys can go out there and check it out. And Dave, you'll be speaking on the main stage in the Photo Booth track this year.
Yeah, it's I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's I spoke the first year, and now coming back again, putting some new things together and kind of helping people learn and maybe pick up some new ideas and grow their business.
And that kind of will bridge us into tonight's topic. We're going to be talking about some of the misconceptions or myths. And the reason we use the myth in the title or on the graphic is because misconceptions is this long of a word and myth is this long. So the thumbnail got myth. But some of the misconceptions, because I think, Dave, we've both been in the entertainment industry for a long time. Mm-hmm. And how many times people come up and say, wow, this has got to be the coolest job ever. I'd love to do this. This looks so easy and simple and fun. And there's all over.
Yeah. Well, people think, they see the fun part of it, but they don't see the back end stuff where you're spending hours prepping all your machines, making sure that you have your media ordered, making sure that all your equipment is good to go. You have backups ready to go. Those little things that they see the end result. Everybody sticking their tongues out, and, making duck lips and blowing kisses to the camera.
And it looks so easy. You make it look so easy. So
make it look so easy.
So that's obviously kind of leads us into some of those misconceptions, Dave. So you've got a few of them. Let's go through some of the biggest ones that you have encountered as you've been talking to people throughout the industry.
The biggest one that I hear this from, anybody can do this. No. Not anybody can do this. You've got to be a person that is good with people to really be successful in this. That's why a lot of DJs, I think, have flocked to this a little bit also, is because you're used to entertaining people and having fun and joking around. And that's kind of what you need when you're in the photo booth side. You need to kind of be able to break things down and people don't understand what it's all about.
Sure.
Well, they do so more now because photo booths are everywhere. But, a few years ago, people really didn't know, well, what is this? What do I do? And then to have fun with the people and joke around with them. So they come back, and this is something that they're going to keep on their refrigerator or their office wall or somewhere for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
And you want to tie that memory to that picture, that whenever they look at it, they remember, okay, that was it. Jill and Mark's wedding. I had such a wonderful time, and that's kind of the thing that you're capturing.
Sure.
And keep that in mind. It's not just getting paid, because we're all in it to obviously make some money at this, but the real goal is the entertainment part
and then the engaging
experience.
So if a person were looking for, say, if I wanted to expand and I wanted to hire someone, or I'm looking for someone to become my photo booth attendant, which, in your opinion, is more important to find? Is it more important to find someone who's going to be that socially connecting personality, or someone who is technically savvy enough to be able to handle the software and the gear? Which one do you think is easier to find one and train the other side of it?
Well, that's the hard part, because you're going to normally find one or the
other, exactly.
Or but there are those combinations of people that are there. Truthfully, I've had the most success with college kids and teachers,
mm-hmm.
because they're interacting. The teachers are interacting with kids all day long, and adults in these photo booths are nothing more than 12-year-olds just grown up, and having fun. And there's times where you got to kind of corral them and get them back in line and everything like that. So, that's kind of what you got to find, is just somebody who has a little bit of technical knowledge. But nowadays the software is becoming so much easier
mm-hmm.
to kind of run itself, that you don't need those. You don't have all the technical issues. You can set everything up where they turn it on and it's right there and ready to go.
Makes things a lot simpler, for surely. Okay, let's jump to our second one. And if it was about the tech side, I'm sorry.
That's okay. There's a ton of money to be made in this industry, and I'm not going to say that there isn't, but there is. But you have to do the work for it. You have to put the time in. You have to call customers back. You have to invest in yourself.
Sure.
And learn. That's why the expos do so well. I found that interacting with people that go to the expos and that are on the groups and ask questions and want to learn are the ones that become very successful. I know a few people who have started just from the groups in the early days when I first started to network, and now are super successful and run have multiple booths in multiple cities, and they really know how to network and are really successful, but they put a lot of time in. It's not something you can just buy the equipment and the money's just going to print itself out just like the pictures. You have to invest in yourself is the main part of that.
To really grow in this day and age. Let's take this point. Let's go back 10 years, maybe 10, 12 years. Would this point be the same as it was 10, 12 years ago?
Not as much, because you didn't have as many manufacturers back then. You had maybe a handful, whereas now you have hundreds almost
mm-hmm.
of builders out there, and there's so many different styles. Before, you had a camera and a computer, a big massive computer 10 years ago, whereas now everything's running off of a Surface tablet or an iPad.
Right. Yeah.
So the technology has kind of really brought it forward, where everything's getting smaller and lighter and easier.
And that's kind of changed the going rate in many markets, I believe.
Sure.
As we've come forward. So I think at one time with the more of a scarcity when it came to that, or the novelty was there, that it was at a higher price, then certainly I'm finding, the first photo booth I had sold a lot higher than the ones I do today.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started, I could get over $2,000 for some events.
Wow.
And, now, the prices have come down because, you want to be a little bit more competitive, and, you pick and choose your clients, and just getting that right venue and things like that. Luckily, I've made a lot of really good connections throughout the years to, kind of help. I do a lot of white labeling for other companies that just chose not to go that route. And that's an easy thing.
Oh, and certainly
to stay busy.
And that circles back to you're hustling, you're working, you're out there. And because of that, you have success and you can make money. It's just, it doesn't come to you if you just sit, oh, I have one. Now they're going to come running to me. It doesn't happen that way anymore.
Right.
Good point. What do you get for number 3?
All right. I can do this with what I have around my house, DIY.
Yeah, this is a good one.
I will say that my very first system was a camera with a little netbook computer, and I had an Epson, or not an Epson, yeah, an Epson, or no, a Canon home printer that I printed on the little 4x6 sheet and cut it with a little paper cutter, and thought, wow, this is great. And when you break it down, and this is part of understanding what you're doing, is figure out your costs, put a business plan together first and foremost before you even think about this. Put a plan together and invest in the right equipment for what you're doing. People notice. I mean, a lot of times people say, oh, this is beautiful. I have this beautiful backdrop and I've got these really funny props, but then they get their picture and it smudges or they're out of focus or fuzzy, those types of things. So that's just investing in good equipment up front, and it will last you in the long run.
Oh, for sure. And it'll lead to more future business over basing something on, that 5-year-old webcam and the netbook.
Yep.
Oh, I remember netbooks.
Yep.
Good tip. Where are we up to number 4?
Number 4, props are fun. No, they're not. They're not fun.
They're spoken as a true photo. No, they're not.
They're not fun. No. No, actually, they can be. But, sometimes I see companies that, set up 2 or 3 big tables of props and things like that. And that's what they're known for. But you got to realize, people, it's not always more is better. Sometimes less is more. And that's, I know a lot of companies that do just fine and have stopped even using props altogether.
Sure.
And because it's about the experience. If you're creating the imagery and the fun, you don't even need props nowadays. And there's so many different options now that you don't even need physical props. You can do the digital ones and things like that.
Props aren't fun. You're such a killjoy, man.
I'm just honest.
And now from our word from our prop sponsors.
And listen, I've got tons and tons of props in tubs on shelves that, we select props for each event.
Yeah, I think you make a great point though, that more isn't better when it comes to that. A hat tree that has a dozen different hats that are good hats that aren't going to be falling apart.
Right.
A few other things, and that people are happy. I mean, we did one where the bride and groom brought their own props, and they brought in like 5 or 6 things that were kind of in that 20s theme, and people just had fun with that. They put the hat on, and the gals put the little whatever, and they just had a great time with minimal. So,
well, and the other thing is, there's so many, you can do custom props now where you can include like their pet. I saw, a couple people now recently do the bride and groom sent a picture of their dog, and they had a sign of the dog, that they were holding up in the pictures, and the people love that.
Sure.
Or you can get big faces of the bride and groom, have them, in there and things like that.
In every shot. Yeah, that would be cool. Good idea. Let's see. What are we up to? Number 5?
Number 5. So this is a big one, and this touches on something I've already said. I don't need a backup. All my equipment is just fine. And this is so true in every profession.
Yeah.
Whether you're a photographer or a DJ, you always need a backup, at least to your key components. If you have a DSLR camera, get a webcam as a backup.
Something.
Carry a small laptop, a netbook. Just looping that back in.
Yeah,
I still have it sitting on the shelf over here. And just keep a backup, and it doesn't have to be under the table. It could be keep it in the car.
Right.
Just enough that if you have an issue, you can switch over, and you got something to kind of get through the rest of the evening. It saves you from having to refund, and get some bad reviews out there online, which is the key. You want to make sure your customer's happy.
Yeah, for sure. And most people will be, if you hey, all of a sudden my printer died. You know what? Let me just go grab another printer, and I'll be right back. You go to the car, back in. Most people are going to be like, hey, wow, you were prepared, and there's a level of confidence or what have you with you compared to the printer died. Well, everybody write your name and address on this card, and then I'll send you. No.
Well, actually, and prime example, just a couple weeks ago, I was doing an outdoor event. I didn't bring my backup. Well, actually, I did have a backup. My main printer went down. My backup printer I switched to, which I hadn't checked in a while, didn't work. And, luckily I made a phone call to a friend, and he came and, bailed me out. But all I did was just the prints just kept queuing up.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I plugged the printer in, I just told people, listen, I'll have your prints in another 15 minutes. If you can, just stop back and I'll have your pictures for you. And, 20 minutes they came back, and their pictures are sitting there. And,
nice.
I don't look like such a jerk because, I made a promise that, hey, your pictures are going to be coming. And they understood.
Mm-hmm.
And, they came back, got their pictures. They were happy. Even a few of them, I printed out a little bit bigger, like a 4x6 instead of a strip.
Sure.
Their pictures. And, just kind of, so it's good to have backup, and it's good to have backup to your backup.
Yeah.
Even if you can.
Yeah. The backup plan there saved your day. That's for sure. Okay, let's go. We're at number 6.
Okay. Where is the work? Everybody thinks that, it's just, it's right there. There's so many places out there that people don't even think of that you can get, hold on a second. I have to move a little visitor.
you had a cheering section.
Yeah. So, one of the things I spoke about at a recent conference expo was, where to get the not the normal stuff. I mean, everybody knows, okay, weddings, parties, school dances, things like that. But if you have a mirror booth or even an iPad booth, there's places that you could go and during the week set your booth up. That you work with a bridal shop. Take your mirror in. Put the bridal shop logo on there, and let them the brides take pictures of their dress and take it home with them, so they can see what they look like.
Great idea.
Just little things like that. It's working smarter. Because the work's out there, but you got to put in where to go, and it's not always immediate. And it builds a little bit. I drop off my booth once in a while to a local party planner, and she has it in her showroom.
Nice.
So people can see, what it is, and she has it there, and the kids can take pictures while she's talking to mom and dad, or things like that. So I mean, make connections. Just get out there and hustle connections.
Yeah.
And the work will come.
For sure. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good idea. But yeah, that the work is, if you're just wanting to do one type of event, you're going to probably be very disappointed or very slow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But
Okay.
there are people that just want to do weddings and parties, and there are some that want to do just corporate events and things like that. So it's just a matter of what you want to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're willing to put in the time, the effort, and the networking to find those events, they're there, and it can happen. It's just some people would rather. We're getting back to the earlier discussion where hey, I got look at my shingles up, and I'm in business, and it should come flowing. So I think we're up to 7. What do we got next?
All right, number 7. iPads are just as good as DSLR. This is kind of like the taste great, less filling debate that'll go on, until the end of time. There are, you have people on both sides, and truthfully, when it all comes down to it, an iPad camera, I don't care how much lighting you have, it's just not the same as a DSLR.
Not a chance.
And if you're just sticking with one type of technology, you're really selling yourself short. And you should be, have a mixture of both in your arsenal. Like I said, limiting to one or the other. I mean, because I find that the iPad and the webcam and things like that are good if you're doing like social, because they're designed for that purpose. Whereas the DSLR, you're looking at something that's made for photography.
Yeah.
For a little bit higher end type situation.
More of a keepsake you're going to get from that compared to the other, for sure.
Exactly.
I think though one of the cool. I heard somebody talking about this, and they were saying that an iPad in the hands of a quality photographer can be better than a DSLR in the hands of a novice in many cases, because they know how to use the tools and can do that. But equal, there's a night and day difference between the end resultants of your pictures if you're using, comparing them side by side.
Well, and that goes back to having the right tools for the job.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have a DSLR camera, you should have a light meter, and understand how to, focus and set your white balance. There's so many times where I see questions in the photo booth network where people go, oh, well, my pictures look beautiful on the screen, but they print out so much different. And a lot of times it's your white balance. You don't have it balanced correctly. And, a lot of times your customer's not going to notice.
Yeah, they're not going to.
But you notice it. And, sometimes that's the end result.
Yeah. Okay, we are up to number 8.
Number 8. I'm a DJ or a photographer, and I can do this. Kind of links back to earlier that anybody can do this, but it's not. It really, the photo booth side is different. You have to really understand where things are, and invest in the correct technology and the training. I mean, it's not photography and it's not DJ. And, there's the misnomer that, well, I can just add this on to my package and, I'll just hire somebody. And that's not the case. What you got to realize is, this is a person's wedding. A lot of times, not as much nowadays, but I mean, before it used to be, you got married once, that was it. Whereas now, second, third, this is just a starter package.
Yeah, this is my practice marriage and everything.
Practice marriage, right?
Yeah.
I'll get it right in another 10 or 15 years. And I say that because I've been married for a long time. So, but the battle will go on. DJs and photographers and photo booth people. There are people that just do this. Just they are photo booth owners.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a photographer. They're not a DJ. They're not a caterer. They're not an event company. This is what they do.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of you need to learn. You need to learn and just break it down. So that's what I had for that one.
Yep. Nice. So we're up to 9. Number
9, corporate is easy to get into, corporate work. And, I see this all the time is, oh, I got a call from this agency. They want to do, 3 cities or 6 cities. How do I quote something like that? If you have to ask that question, you need to refer them to someone else and, maybe take a booking fee or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of big agencies out there. And you can really do yourself a lot of damage if you're not prepared for it. Being someone who's done some corporate and has worked for other companies, doing corporate stuff, it's not easy at all. And there are just as many complaints as, for regular party events that, corporate events are 10 times worse, because you're not dealing with the direct company. You're dealing with a marketing company, and they're taking your information and they're marking it up and they're sending it to, the end result customer, the Anheuser-Busch or the X game type thing. And, you have to be on your game and you have to be able to talk the talk. And if you aren't sure, learn and do some really just kind of trying to think of the right word to say for that.
I think there's some networking with someone who has more experience and has some connections into that arena. I've got some friends who have run some huge photo booth companies, and they're doing millions of dollars a year. But it wasn't something that happened overnight. It wasn't something that it took time. And once they got into that, it isn't that they can just take the same photo booth and the same background that they used at Bob and Susie's wedding. The amount that, as you're saying, that you've got to up your game, and you have to do things at such a level and at such a quality level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and you've got to be consistent, multiple times in multiple places, sometimes the same day.
Yeah.
And you have to price yourself accordingly. A lot of times people are doing corporate events and they're thinking, well, I can just charge what I do for a regular event, and they don't realize that, you're having to order, multiple backdrops, multiple systems.
Yeah.
Making sure that you have staff in each of those cities, making sure that there's so many variables that people just don't think about that, they think, well, I can do that for this price. Well, whatever you're thinking, you should be doubling that, or if not more,
for sure.
Because it's not the same as a regular, 5K walk or, something that is a little bit bigger where you'd have a lot more people than you would just a typical event.
Yeah. And it's not your backyard, the night out type event.
Right.
Some of those are that it's got to be ready to go, and it's got to be at a high level from the beginning to end, and it has to reflect on that company at the highest level. Yeah, for sure. It can be a tough area. So we're getting close here to the end. So we're up to number 10. What do we have?
Last one. All pricing is is pretty even, and that's not the case. You have to price. I see a lot of DJs and a lot of photo booth owners and a lot of photographers that, they put the pricing on their website and this and that. No event is the same. It's not a cookie cutter type of industry. You can't just say, okay, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Every customer is different. So you need to price accordingly. You need to have, a base package and then your add-ons and things like that. And just knowing that your pricing is a key point, but not just, giving someone a price. You have to explain to them why you charge twice or three times more than, the guy that's next to you,
Mm-hmm.
that they're getting that same quote for. It's going to do it for, $200 less than you. Well, why are you costing more than that? Well, because, and given the reasons why, you should have a script ready to go, and ask yourself questions. If I was going at, why am I pricing myself like this?
Mm-hmm.
What makes me better than X, Y, and Z company? And if you can sit down and really put a script together, that when you get that question and just be able to flow with it and explain that, a lot of times they're going to choose you over that other company. Not always, because they listen. Some places they have budgets too,
Mm-hmm. Oh, certainly.
but sometimes and follow up with them if you didn't get it. Hey, what was it about our was it our pricing? Was it this or that? A lot of people say, oh, well, I didn't get the job. I'm just
That was
I'm
yeah.
so frustrated. They went with someone who's $200 less. Well, why did they go with it? Was it your price? Were they giving away? Were they adding more options? What was it? And be able to answer and speak to that later on for the next time you get that call.
Yeah, I like that idea with having that kind of that script. Some of these common questions, because we get those from every person pretty much who calls, and we're not the cheapest in the things that we do. There's always someone cheaper, but to be able to explain that from Dave, why should I spend more money? What am I going to get out of spending more money with you? And now it will open it so you can explain those benefits that, hey, this is what I can do that will do this for you. And we can do this that will do this for you. And
Yep.
that's turning it around like that and having that script ready to go. So those times when we all get that phone call where they catch us at an odd moment and we're brain dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it gets you started in that
Yeah.
process. That scripting is such a great idea.
Right. And don't be afraid to say, listen, I'm not at the right moment. This isn't a very good time. Can I call you back in 10 minutes? Get yourself together. If you're not ready to really sit down and have that conversation with that customer at that time, just say, listen, can I set something up with you in a few minutes? I'm in the middle of organizing something else. Make an excuse up if you have to, but get yourself ready before you make that call back.
Yeah,
And if you're waiting for those calls, make sure that you're ready, that when you pick that phone up and you answer that call, you can have a conversation. And you need multiple scripts also. So, the script that you're going to have for that wedding coming in, or that birthday party, or that corporate event, all those kind of come together, and you need to be able to, you're not going to have that same conversation for each.
no, certainly not. You must be prepared. So,
That's it.
hey, good. Some good thoughts there. Things, some of the misconceptions that are out there within the industry, and some little tips and such on how to become better as a business when it comes to the photo booth industry.
That's it. It's
Yeah,
it's all a matter of learning and growing.
really is. And it doesn't matter if we're in photo booth, if we're in DJ photography, coordination of events, that learning and growing. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Wedding MBA coming up here in just a few weeks is one of the biggest events in the wedding industry,
Sure.
because so many people have learned over the years that learning and growing will take them to a new level. That's where you see them.
Well, bottom line is you have to invest in yourself. If you don't, you're not going to grow, and you might as well just close up and get a regular job somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do this is because they love what they do.
Yeah, for sure.
And the ones that are really successful are the ones that continue to invest in themselves.
And we will see them in February at Photo Booth Expo, which is coming up here February 24th through the 27th at the South Point Casino. And you'll be able to come in and go to the photo booth track, and you're going to be able to catch Dave on stage at Photo Booth Expo.
That's me.
It'll be awesome. Looking forward to it. Dave, people want to reach out and ask a question or something to that effect. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So, I post this all the time. My email address is dave@ismilepod.com, and my cell phone number. And I tell people, listen, I do sleep, a few hours a night, so middle of the night calls may not get answered till the next morning. It's 484-388-6698. I'm not afraid to answer questions. I want to help people. If you want to learn and you want to grow your business, I want to help you, get to where you want to go. I had people kind enough to pay it forward for me and share some of their knowledge and really help me get to where I am today. And that's kind of how the Photo Booth Network started. It's a pay it forward type thing. It's not always about making or getting money for something. It's about seeing someone else do better too.
Certainly. And you guys can go out to Facebook, search Photo Booth Network, and request to join the group if you're not part of that group. And Dave and the crew will be there to get you in, and you can learn a lot there. You can go through, and people are very, very active there, and you can spend a lot of time going through the chat questions.
We have over 14,000 members from all over the world.
Yeah.
And people post all the time. And, some's good, some bad. We're trying to work on revamping some things coming in the future here. So, it's going to be more of a getting back to the basics, I think.
Nice.
And it's a place where we want to help everybody.
Yeah, it seems like from what I've seen, it's a great resource for those in the photo booth industry. Dave, once again, thank you for being on tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in February.
Looking forward to it too. Thank you so much for asking me to be here.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you guys for watching. We will catch you next time. Good night, everybody.